My name is Jeff Sailing. I'm one of the co-founders at Startup NV, and welcome to Pitch Day for 500K. Today, we're going to hear from Mike from Dabble and Bennett Kim from ZNest, and also appreciate Mike, Jay, and Bennett for going through the rigors that we put them through to get up here and speak on Pitch Day. For anybody out there that's new to our program, Startup NV is Nevada's statewide nonprofit startup accelerator and incubator. We operate 7 free entrepreneurship programs supported by government grants and corporate sponsors. We get additional financial support in the form of donated equity from successful accelerator companies and profit sharing from our 4 affiliated investment funds. Our fortnightly pitch days offer companies an opportunity to join our accelerator program with investment from Fund NV. Our investor syndicate adds to that, and then that whole total is then matched by the funds from Nevada's SSBCI program. Now, since 2021, we've directly invested over $12 million in 25 different startup companies, plus another $6.5 million of PIPE, or public investment in private equity, for one of our companies that went public. Our startup investments have grown to over $44 million in assets under management, a little over 4 times their original value. Partner co-investments in Nevada's SSBCI and others have amplified our impact significantly, adding more than $25 million to what we've invested. So that's, if you've done all the math there, it's about a little over $35 million that's been invested in our startup community since 2021. Now for the legal disclaimer. The pitches today are for investment from our legally compliant venture funds and syndicate, restricted to SEC accredited and Nevada certified investors. We welcome the community to attend for educational purposes, kind of like watching Shark Tank, but hopefully a little nicer. But these pitches are not a general solicitation for investment. Special thanks to our sponsors, the City of Las Vegas, Clark County, Governor's Office of Economic Development, the EDA, and the USDA. So that's it. Usually I have a couple of announcements, but since we're running a little behind, we're just going to dive right in. Bennett, why don't you bring your slides up? All right, Bennett, take it away whenever you're ready, sir.
All right. I hope you can hear me okay. Hi, my name is Bennett Kim, and I'm the founder and CEO of ZNest, which is vertical AI for senior housing. So one of the things to note on the cover is that we recently won an award as the top emerging technology in the senior living industry. So the problem right now is that there's this massive senior housing crisis. In terms of the demographic trends, there's a wave of baby boomers who are aging, which is represented by this blue line. But it's not only that, it's also that Gen Z and millennials are not having kids at as fast a rate, which is the red line. So it's really the ratio of the elderly to the potential workforce, which is causing a labor shortage. And the most scalable way to take care of the aging population is senior housing. But there's both a B2C problem and a B2B problem, and we're addressing both, even though we're focusing on the B2B side. So first of all, senior housing is just way too expensive for most Americans. 72% of middle income families can't afford it. But there's also a counterintuitive problem. If there's so much demand for it, why is construction at a 16-year low? It's because people can't get construction loans. And why can't they get construction loans? Because the numbers don't work. And why don't the numbers work? The answer is labor. Labor is by far the largest operating expense. Here's how the economics of a typical middle income assisted living facility works. It charges $7,000 a month in rent, but as you can see, the cost structure uses up 100% of the revenues. So in most cases, these facilities are struggling to break even on a cash flow basis. I'm going to give you an example. The largest company in the country today is called Brookdale, the largest company in our industry. It's a public company and it's doing $3 billion in revenues, but it's cash flow negative. With that being said, out of the 50% labor costs, about 10 percentage points are for stuff that AI can automate today. So here's our solution. We're using AI to reduce as much of the labor as possible, but we're not going to touch caregiving or clinical roles, just the back office. This would be labor at both the corporate level as well as the facility level. As for the market size, more than half of the revenues are for labor and systems. So that's the TAM. But we're only focusing on the back office for now, which is about 10% of the revenues. So the SAM is about 23 billion. We then looked at comps. So similar to RPAs, robotic process automations like UiPath, we plan on pricing our agents at 25% of what it would cost for humans to do the same work. So the market opportunity is 5.8 billion today, and if that's in the US alone. But the one important thing to note is that the market size is going to double in the next 15 years. So this whole page is what we call phase one. It's a series of AI agents that are independently priced with low ACVs because we're using a land and expand strategy. But I want to spend some time talking about the initial wedge. That's this agent one right here, this onboarding and credential management. For the initial wedge, we're focusing on HR compliance. We ended up doing over 3 months of discovery to understand pain points at a really granular level. And what we found out was that there's this 2 to 3 week period after a job offer, but before the start date, where there's peak manual labor. And I'll explain why by zooming in into this workflow. So when we drilled down into the details, we found out that HR teams had to stop using horizontal software to manage this workflow because it's so unique to senior housing. So things like fingerprint-based background checks, TB tests, drug screens are so specific to healthcare that horizontal applicant tracking systems and HRSs aren't managing these workflows. So instead, everyone's doing things manually, right? They're using Microsoft Excel, they're making phone calls, sending emails, scanning documents. We've automated this entire workflow from end to end without any human interaction from the HR side. So there are 4 things that we use. We use conversational AI texting to guide the candidates through this process. We use computer vision to read things like licenses and certifications. We use browser automation tools to verify background checks and credentials. And then we use a multi-agent network that accesses state and federal regulations in real time. So we use a network of several foundational AI models to confer with each other so that there's more accuracy and stability. In terms of pricing, for now, we're pricing this agent at $3 per bed per month. So a typical 100-bed assisted living facility will pay about $300 per month. So one of our beta testers is an operator called Sinai Residences, and they're based out in Florida. And we've actually proven that our system can reduce headcount. So they're already saving 70 hours per month. And if you take the average recruiter wage, that translates to a savings of $2,100. They told us, though, that prior to using our products, 15 to 20% of job applicants missed appointments. This would be for things like the background checks or the TB test. After they started using ZNest, not one applicant has missed an appointment so far, and it's been 6 months. But the biggest validation came when one of the recruiters left the company. They had 3, they were down to 2, and then they decided not to hire another person because of us. So in terms of the roadmap, for now, we've identified the manual and repetitive workflows that are unique to senior housing that can be automated by AI. That's the slide that I showed initially. And so eventually, when the underlying foundational models improve, that's when we'll look into more complex decisions. Keep in mind, everything that's in the first phase is deterministic. We'll then look for opportunities to either disrupt SaaS or actually have AI agents manage the SaaS through computer use. As for the competition, keep in mind, we intentionally look for slices of workflow where people were doing things manually. So what we're really replacing are the people who are using spreadsheets and software as a repository of data. Then there's traditional SaaS, right? There's the HR software that's either horizontal or purpose-built. In terms of the horizontal HR software, senior housing workflows, they're just not what they do. It's just too narrow, it's too specific. Then there's the purpose-built software. It's really hard to shift, though, from an entire business model from traditional SaaS to an AI-first mentality. Right now, what we see is that they're just gluing on these ChatGPT wrappers as co-pilots to their platform. We haven't seen any companies focus on agentic AI for the back office of senior housing. So we have an advisory board that consists of 12 of the largest institutional owners of senior housing in the country. There are 5 public real estate investment trusts represented here, 1 private REIT, and then a bunch of private equity shops. And this is what's in their portfolio. This is the list of the 50 largest operators in the country ranked by the American Senior Housing Association, and they work with 29 of them. So we have direct access to the C-suite people in the companies in green, and they've already started making introductions. Now, for the go-to-market strategy, we're really leveraging the experience and deep relationships that we built from our entire careers, but we're also doing things like speaking at conferences, and we also have a newsletter called AI in Senior Living so that we can gain trust and authority as the experts of AI within senior living. So right now we have 6 beta testers, including the third largest operator in the country, which is called LCS. So here's where we're at today. We're currently beta testing until the end of the calendar year, but getting to 1.7 million of ARR from the initial wedge would only require about 12 customers with an average of 40 facilities because we're focused on enterprise. In terms of my background, I first got into senior housing over 20 years ago when I was with the private equity firm Apollo. And Apollo back then owned the largest private assisted living operator in the country called Somerville. We ended up selling Somerville to Emeritus and then Emeritus to Brookdale, which is the company that I mentioned. Brookdale is the largest senior housing in the operator today. As for the rest of our team, both Dennis Ma, who's our CTO, and Calvin Chen, who's our CPO, were both part of the tech leadership at caring.com, which is the second largest senior housing tech company in the country. So we all have deep senior housing experience. In terms of our initial round, we actually raised $1.4 million previously, and we're raising another million now, of which we've already closed 350,000 from a lead VC called Two Ravens. And that 1 million would give us a runway of 18 months. We're using a $9 million post-money valuation cap safe with a 20% discount rate. And about 80% of those funds will be used for engineering. And lastly, just want to say thank you to everybody.
Thanks everybody for coming out today, and thanks for everybody online for joining us today. A few quick reminders as we wrap up. If you're out there and you're thinking, wow, okay, those numbers that Jeff was spouting off right at the beginning about turning 12 million into 44 million and hopefully soon a lot more, and you want a little in on that action, then go to the same place, startupnv.org, follow the I'm an Investor path, and you'll get access to looking at our Fund NV, our 1864 seed fund, our work with the Sierra Angels, a traditional angel group, and our company-specific special purpose vehicles as well. So everything starts and ends at startupnv.org, and then you can branch off from there. On social media, we're on LinkedIn and YouTube, so I appreciate it if you follow us there and keep up with us. Thanks to today's founders for pitching today. And thanks to everybody who attended. Thanks for coming out here into this beautiful, Brian's not in the room, but thanks to Brian for lending us the space. It's a really awesome facility here. So if you haven't been out to Woven here in downtown Las Vegas, come on out and visit it. It's like stepping back into like 1975. I hope I didn't get the year wrong. Brian would be like frowning at me if I got the year wrong, but it's very cool. And thanks to our team at Startup NV for putting on another great pitch day. And we will see you back here in 2 more weeks to see 2 more founders pitch. And until then, take care of yourself. And if you can, someone else too. We'll see you back in 2 weeks.